So I kind of want to make like fun music that people can dance to and people can just have fun to, or, you know.
It's another good day that we have today. We are actually on another good day on over the weekend, and we have one great human being today. So, after further ado, after a long awaiting of me trying to get this gentleman on, we actually have him and we're ready to go here. We actually have a rising star in the whole music industry, Mr. Dylan Lafave, joining us here. This man,
Hello.
hello, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
A good day in paradise. I have a whole actual blurb about you that I've actually written out and I've seen and I want to tell everybody beforehand. It was you from born in, well, not born actually. You're raised in Montreal. You're actually born in America,
Yeah.
and from there you actually bursted into the scene around 2015, essentially starting your journey through lots of music covers, lots of songs through YouTube, and from there you actually reached over 1 million views on that platform, and from there you decided to actually make your own music now. And in 2019 you actually debuted your first single called Fragile, soon after following up by two other songs. You got songs Cigarettes, you have songs I've Heard Bells on Christmas Day, and from there you decided to keep going. Fall of 2020, you actually dropped your first Untold Secrets, so that was the first actual critically acclaimed work to date. And from there, you decided to continue, you decided to keep going, decided to keep making more music. Currently, you're with your new debut album called Save Me, which is officially out. Everybody can check it out on any type of platform essentially right now. And trust me, you're going to be on a musical journey when you do. But yes, Dylan, let's go. Let's speak. Let's talk about you.
Let's do
Uh,
it. Let's
I
talk
want
about
to
me.
know like another synopsis on your journey besides of the things that I've said. Let's try to get it as fast as possible, but in detail, as best way, by lack of better words.
Okay. Well, I mean, for a while when I was younger, I always wanted to dive into the music scene, but I never really had an excuse to do it. It just kind of felt random always. So to me, YouTube kind of was like an outlet for me to dive into that world. And when I had some supporters saying that I should do it, I decided like, why not? It's worth a shot. There's nothing to lose and no regrets, you know? So I was really young. I was like 16 when I recorded my first song and I just kind of did whatever and hope for the best. And it was like a little cover that I did and just to see how people would take a professional recording from me. And there was people liked it. And then I eventually started to write my own songs. And in recent time, the past year and a half or so, it's kind of been more of a serious thing where I'm like, oh, like this could be a potential future for me. And that started with Untold Secrets, like you said. And now I've done a few other things since, and I'm wrapping up my first real, I would say, project and trying to get that out by the end of the year. And yeah,
Amazing. So then you're basically keeping as busy as possible throughout the
so I'm
starting of the
trying.
year, and
Yes,
at the end of the year, you're gonna hopefully release something else for us. If that's the
yes.
if that's the process, what is the creative process from infancy, like a song's infancy, to being released to the public?
You know, I feel like I don't really have a set out I don't really do anything specific. It kind of just like happens. And for a while I thought I had to follow like the pattern that everyone else follows. But now I've kind of just like sometimes songs will take weeks and months to finish, and sometimes songs will take hours to finish. It really just depends. And I feel like the best songs always come from me walking into a session
Yeah.
and then me walking out of the session with the song. And a lot of the time that doesn't happen. And it's just the issue with this type of career is that you're not always in the right headspace for it.
Yeah.
It's really like a lot in the mind. And if you have nothing to write about, then it's like, oh, like I don't know what to do. And you're like, I'm in a session sitting here basically doing nothing and you feel useless. So you really value those moments when you have like a crazy brain. And now I kind of have the people that I love to work with, and I kind of have like a form of that I follow every time. And yeah, I don't really have a specific formula as to what I do, but now I feel like I have the
You
right
kind of know
people, and
what's good,
yeah, I
but
kind of know what feels
what's
right.
organic. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not really following something on paper, you know. It kind of is different every time,
Yeah.
I would say.
And then when it comes out, that's when you can basically you know exactly what is happening and then because when it's out, now it's in the real world. And it's in the
Kind of
real
freak
world.
out. I'm like, take it. I don't want anything to do with it anymore.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
yeah,
Tell me
I'm
the
like,
truth.
oh
Tell me the
God.
truth.
Yeah, no, literally. It's the scariest feeling.
So what happens with your I guess we'd say creative block because everybody in any type of arts they at some point in time get stopped. So what do you do to get out of that
You
perpetual
know,
motion?
I really try to dive into old experiences or experiences I feel coming. And for a while after 2020, when like the pandemic happened, I had a huge writer's block where I just like couldn't think of anything because all I was doing was sitting at home and doing nothing. So
Yeah,
for a while, I didn't really feel anything. It felt like when it came to the music. And then once I wrote Untold Secrets, I kind of like explored this whole new side of me that I kind of never really dove into before. And it was more vulnerable and more, you know, I kind of made like stories that I experienced dramatic. And I kind of never really did that before. It was kind of just like, oh, that had to happen to me. It had to be this, it had to be that. Whereas now I can kind of like make it a little dramatic because that's what people do. You know, of course,
yeah,
everything I say in these songs doesn't mean it actually has happened. I mean, something obviously gave me the inspiration for it, but it's a little dramatic, and I
yeah, a
feel
little
like
bit
that's what makes the
dramatized.
song. Yeah, I feel like that's what makes the song fun, and that's why people will message me like, "Oh my God, like that's horrible," and then they'll start like being like, "Who did this?" and whatever. I'm like, I
Yeah,
promise it's not as bad as it
I made it
seems.
a little bit
A
more.
little dramatic,
But I mean,
and
that's what they do in movies. That's what they do in TV.
exactly,
But
it's part of the arts, I would say,
yeah,
just making it a
absolutely.
little dramatic, and not to say that these things didn't happen, but it's a little bit like, oh, it's like I'm playing always right. It's kind of narcissistic in a way, but you know,
I mean,
whatever.
you just need a little bit of that in order to get anywhere. Like, look at
Yeah,
the
exactly.
greatest people in the world. Look at Elon. Look at Zuckerberg. Like, look at me and you.
Exactly. Yeah,
uh,
exactly.
yeah, I'm curious to continue. I was looking at a little bit of other interviews that you had in the past,
Hmm.
and like in 2019 and so, and some questions came up that you didn't actually have an answer to at the time. So one of them would actually be your genre of music. So the music that you make specifically.
Yeah.
I remember hearing, oh, I don't really know exactly right now. It's kind of here, it's indie, it's pop.
Yeah.
Has that changed? Do you actually now have
Yeah, I would
a
say I just make
concrete?
like standard commercial pop, I guess. Diving into like acoustic sometimes or more
Yeah,
dance pop sometimes. For a while, I made really sad music, which is why I probably said like indie bedroom pop, whereas now I feel like I'm kind of really on like my commercial pop. I'm like happy and
yeah,
everything is like going well. So I kind of want to make like fun music that people can dance to and people can just have fun to, or, sometimes be sad, and obviously not everything in life is happy. So
yeah. You're getting a little
yeah,
bit
but
of a
I would
genre
say
change.
just commercial pop,
Oh, absolutely, for sure.
sometimes
Pop when it
diving into
comes to that.
dance pop.
Is that I guess you would say that's for sure the vein of the your new album that you have currently. That's like the 100% the vein that it comes from.
Yeah, I mean I will say it's a little bit all over the place, and here we go again with me saying I'm not sure what genre I do. But I mean it all is in the realm of pop. Sometimes a little more dark pop. We have upbeat pop.
Yeah,
But it's all within the pop genre, I would say.
totally.
Yeah.
So where does your inspiration like more than just where your inspiration comes from? What is the genres that you personally like, which would probably bring influence to the music that you make? Like
Yeah,
the artists, genres.
yeah, well, there's one song that it's already out. It's called Island Fever, and I would say it's very like Dua Lipa inspired, like dance pop music. Whereas like my acoustic songs are kind of more like a Charlie Puth vibe,
All
more
right.
like a Shawn Mendes potentially. But yeah, these people are all commercial pop people, right? So I would say I feel like that's a pretty good summary of
Yeah.
who I try to take inspiration from.
Yeah, taking like three artists basically and
Yeah,
melding them and becoming the medium of all three of them,
put them
but
together, and
also
that's my
being
genre.
yourself. Ta-da.
Correct. Yeah, I always try to do a little bit of originality as well, of course. So.
I also heard that you just moved recently. I think it was like about a year now that you've been in Toronto
Yes.
from Montreal. So you actually
Hmm.
moved from Montreal to Toronto.
Yeah.
You kind of have a better understanding of the difference in the demographic and the people that are there and the culture. I wanted to see your take on that. What do you think is different between the the life of being 25 to 35 in Montreal and being that here in Toronto?
I will say when I lived in Montreal, I lived in a suburb, so it's really hard for me to compare the city life
Okay.
versus like the suburban life.
Which one?
What do you mean?
Which suburb?
Oh, in Montreal?
Yeah.
It's like the West Island. It's like a very small
Oh
town
yeah.
called Beaconsfield. It's very small.
Oh, I believe it or not, my mother lives right now in Dollar Des Ormeaux.
Oh,
So
wow.
I
Wow,
know a
small
lot about
world.
Dollar Des Ormeaux, and I know a lot about
Yeah.
LaSalle, Verdun. That's kind of
Okay,
my
yeah.
stomping ground back in the day.
Okay, nice. But yeah, I will say it's very its own bubble, and it's very, Montreal is known to have so much culture and all this, and it's a French city, bilingual, but
Yeah.
I would say majority French. So when I grew up in the suburb, it was just its own bubble of English people, and everyone knows each other, and something happens, it's so dramatic, and everyone knows about it.
Yeah.
Whereas now I feel like I'm in such a big city, and it's such a change. But I feel like there's just so much more opportunity, and there's so much. If I'm hungry at 2 in the morning, I can order food, and
Yeah.
I never had to got to do that before. And obviously, it helps with doing music here versus a small city like that or a small town like that. So yeah, I feel like it's really hard for me to compare since I never got to compare the city life of both. But yeah, here just feels more, it's like a mini New York, is like
Yeah.
what I like to call it.
That's what everybody. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, or yeah, what everyone likes to call it, I guess. But yeah, I do feel like home has more like culture oriented things, whereas here just feels like very young, which is good for me. But I can see how people wouldn't necessarily vibe with this city. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Absolutely. It's a dog eat dog world for sure in the city of Toronto. Not
It's
to
very young and
mention,
up and coming.
exactly. It's always changing. It's every
Oh yeah,
single 3, 4 years you'll see a whole new genre of people, a whole new genre of
exactly.
buildings and people, things to
Hmm.
do. But at the same time, you still have those standard events, the things that people go to all the time, every single
Hmm.
year. And I guess it makes sense when you're in a city that you only have 3 or 4 months of sunshine, lack of better words. So like
Oh
you gotta
yeah.
gotta do it as much as you can, right?
Yeah. Cheers to it being dark at 7 now.
Yeah,
Hopefully 7,
right. Literally
7:30, daylight savings.
starting today.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
Oof. Finally. Oh my God.
What do we do with the extra hour?
Honestly, not enough sleep. It felt like my sleep was short, but it's
Yeah,
fine. I mean, I didn't
all
really
winter.
notice. I was asleep when the clocks moved, so
I was
but
actually happened to be I was last weekend in the Caribbean, so they already
oh,
changed their time, and then I went
oh,
to Orlando, which had their time backwards, and then I came to back to Toronto, so then they changed their time forwards. So I'm like jumping from
you're
time to
everywhere.
time zone to
What
time
time
zone to
is it?
time zone. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What time is
Oh
it?
my.
What year is this? Do you
Never
have
know.
any simple misconceptions that people usually get from you, as you can say?
Um, yeah, I have as some am I allowed to swear on here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I have a resting bitch face, I would say. So people have this like assumption about me that I'm like a prick. Um, and I feel like that's not true. I mean, no, it's not true. I don't know. When
Yeah.
when people actually get to know me, I feel like, but a lot of people tell me like when I actually get to know them that they were like afraid to approach me, and I'm like, I don't want to be like that. But it's just something I can't help. But yeah, I feel like that's like the main one where people are like, I thought you hated me, and I was like, no, I just like it's not
I
anything
guess,
about you. It's just like my resting face.
yeah, exactly. Probably like I should have translated it a little bit better,
Yeah.
but it's what
It's
it
uh,
is.
it's not anything personal, and then they're like, I don't believe you, and I'm like, oh great, here we go. And it's the same explanation for everybody, but I
I'm
promise
sure
for anyone watching this, come up and say hi.
I'm sure like when they say that too, it's kind of a lot of a Toronto mentality as well. So they're always
Yeah.
people always think that, oh, this
Everyone's
person's,
overthinking
yeah,
everything.
exactly. That guy,
Yeah.
that person's on his way to work. That person's doing this, person's doing
Hmm.
that. The other day I had one person look at me and just how I was dressed, and they said, "You look very comfortable." And I was like, "Yeah, I try to be comfortable because if you are comfortable, you live a little bit comfortably as well. You're always just hanging around, lounging, and
Yeah,
you look like you're more approachable at the end of the day. And that's what I like to be.
maybe I should take notes. I need to
So
look more comfortable
just make sure that you have, baggier, a little bit of a baggier shirt.
on it.
And
Making a list right now.
exactly, make sure you have a bed head because if they say you have a bed head, then you're going around. But if you have a dread head, then it works as well.
Okay, great. Noted.
But yeah, let's continue. Essentially, I have so much things I wanted to say, but we wanted to let's go back to the music. Let's go back to
Yeah.
that. Essentially, you have again the new album "Save Me" that actually just came out, including four new songs. You want to explain to me the four songs and like let's say a quick synopsis of what is this song, what does it represent, and what's the why the name, and yeah, why the name, and why the inspirations.
Well, just as like a this little collection of songs is just it we call it a waterfall release, whereas
Yeah.
the Untold Secrets, Get You Through, and Island Fever have already been released. But it's like a new strategy that's kind of come up within the industry where you put the songs all together. So this it's technically a single, but they just come together to
Okay.
boost engagement and stuff. So Save Me is just the title of the song. This isn't the project yet, but it's building up towards that. But a little summary of each. Untold Secrets is kind of like my it's like the welcome to this new world of me, and it's like my coming out song and stuff. And when I wrote it, it didn't really have that meaning to me, but once I started playing it for people, they were like, you know what the song means, right? And I'm like, oh shit. Like I didn't even like think
Yeah.
about that. But yeah, well, that's what I'll say. It's like kind of like the start of this new life. And then Get You Through it was a breakup song. I'd say the last sad song I've made in a while. Uh, when I had my first relationship with while coming to terms with the coming out, and it didn't really end well, and whatever. And then Island Fever is when I finally met somebody new. It's kind of like this dream of mine that I had where I was able to like escape to this place from leaving these winters because every day feels like the same. And I was just like,
Yeah.
I need to get away from this day to day with one specific person. And it was kind of just like this whole imagination. And it was really a new experience for me. Like it was a very different genre for me, but it was really fun. I
Okay.
had a lot of fun making it. And then Save Me, the one that just came out, is a love song. And it basically just dives into like the ups and downs of a relationship, and people I feel like don't really talk about them. And we kind of watch movies and we see these interpretations of what love is supposed to be. But then when you actually get into it, it's really not that. And there's I have the line where it's like love is highs and lows. It's not just kissing in the rain. Because you see all these movies and like these two people they meet and they're kissing in the rain and they're in
Yeah.
love and there's no problems, everything's perfect. And it was me realizing that being in a relationship isn't always perfect. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. And all these songs kind of come together to make like a whole story of my life post coming out. And uh, there's a few more that are going to be coming out hopefully by the end of the year. Fingers crossed. Don't quote me on it. Um, but but yeah, that's what I'll say.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So then these four songs together, I guess, then create. I guess it sounds like a sort of a harmony, kind of symbiotic. It works. They all work together. They're all
Hmm.
separate, but when they come together, it creates something even more.
Exactly. When you really
And
dive into like the story of each song, it's funny because it's called a waterfall release. It kind of feels like a waterfall where it
oh,
like starts
wonderful.
with the coming out and then like the breakup and then it's like a new peak. Or I guess it's kind of like a mountain.
Yeah, exactly. He can new mountain, even though
Yeah.
like a waterfall is
It's always
goes
going down.
downwards. But
Yeah.
again, the
It like
cascade or the
repeats.
yeah, the
Yeah.
greatness comes at the bottom, and it could go.
Correct.
It basically goes forever, like water.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
Hmm. Wow.
All right, that makes
What a
sense.
metaphor.
Yeah, right. I was like, nah, that makes sense. I get it now. So then, when you putting this all together and having the music that you're going to be having in the future coming,
Yeah.
what was the? I guess you can say the concept for what is to come. Do you have something that's gonna is it gonna follow this EP, or is it gonna be a whole new type of music, whole new type of vibe, all just happy music? What are we like? What are we dealing with?
It's really hard for me to think so far in advance. Like I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow. But I'm super a fan of like diving into different genres and kind of like having a rebrand. And once this story's over, then it's in the world and it's not that I don't want to think about it anymore, but it's more just like
Yeah.
it's in the world and that story's over and now it's time to move on. And I'd love to, you never know. Who knows? Maybe I'll be a rapper in 5 years. No,
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I won't. But I love doing genre changes and I love messing around. Like even a song that I recently just finished is so different from any of these other four songs. And I'm really just like exploring and figuring out what I want to do. And I feel like I'm still so young that like I can kind of mess around with so many different things and I'm not really in a rush to settle. So yeah,
Yeah.
who knows? The album well, yeah, the album after could be crazy. Who knows? Could be
Yeah. See,
anything. I
the
could be a
world,
house music artist for all I
world
know.
is our oyster. World is our oyster when it
Exactly.
comes to it.
But
And
yeah,
I'm
I don't really
loving to
have
see it.
expectations right now.
So then in that case, when it comes to it, you have like a lot of the songs that are being released now are
Mhm.
catching a lot more steam. Do you have a
Yeah.
song that you want a lot of people to know about more? Like, it's not a part of the EP, I guess you can say.
Oh, what, a song that's not part of the EP?
Yeah. So not a part of the
Okay.
four main songs. Is there another group of two, maybe one or two songs that you don't want more people to hear, more people to have the light on?
I will say I'm not a huge fan of any of the music that came out before Untold Secrets, and I, I feel like it's hard for me to sit here and be like, I
Yeah,
regret
think
doing
about it.
that stuff. But I was so young and I was really just like learning. And I thought about this recently where I would love to go into the studio and sit down in a session. I released a mini EP called The Truth at one point, and I feel like there's potential with these songs that I'd love to do some rewriting and re-recording and reproducing. And I feel like that's what's next after doing this project.
Yeah.
Kind of I'm pulling a Taylor Swift and re-recording and doing some rewriting and maybe just making them more quality because I feel like right now I was just so young. I was kind of like the writing's a little cringe and like now and I feel like I'm more mature now and able to actually make
Polish it up.
something, yeah, something that sounds like listenable. Not that it's not listenable, but I just feel like
More
there's
catchy to the ear.
potential. There's potential and it's just not there right now. So yeah, I'd
Totally
love to do
understand.
that. That's one of my goals for the next few years is to go back and work on those songs and make them better.
Make them all housey party musics. Da-da.
But I will say the Christmas song I did release has the most potential of all of those. So if you were going to listen to something, it's not Christmas, but if you're going to back and listen to something, I would say the Christmas song is pretty fun. But it did get a good amount of traction, which was surprising.
Yeah, and again, it's similar to like Mariah Carey, the effect every single year when a
Every
Christmas
single
song
year
comes
it has a
around.
peak and then it's like back to the waterfall.
Yeah, exactly. And there we
Yeah.
go. Ta-da.
Hmm.
Well, when it comes to all the music, everything that's been done already,
Hmm.
is there like is singing still a form of a therapy to you, or is it
Yeah,
now?
I will say yes, but it's different because for a while it was like a coping thing for me, whereas now I feel like it's just like an outlet. I have a hard time like talking about how I feel sometimes. So I feel like it's a really good outlet, even if I'm not releasing anything and I'm just like singing and writing songs at 2 in the morning sometimes. It's just a good outlet for me to like let out my feelings, whether that be happy or sad or, whatever. It's just like some people journal and some people will have conversations with people. I like to write songs about it. It's almost like
Yeah,
poems and it's like whatever. But yeah, and then I do that and sometimes I'll just like rip it up, throw it away. I said what I had to say. Or sometimes I'll be like, this has potential, and then I'll move forward with it. But yeah, I will say it is a form of therapy.
totally
So
understand.
yeah.
And then it's still gonna be influential to the music that you create in the future for sure.
Mhm.
Have you done
1,000%.
any studying on music theory or anything along those lines?
Not really, I will say, and that's something I really would also love to do. And I look at this long list of things I want to do still.
Oh, you
But
got time.
yeah, exactly. What I'm thinking. I've tried to learn music theory, but it really frustrated me. Um, so I'm not sure about the music theory, but I would love to, you know, learn more about like vocal theory and the singing theory and kind of discover my voice a little more because I feel like nobody really knows their true potential until they like meet with someone who's a professional. So, I'd love to do that. And music theory is really frustrating to me, but who knows? That'll change maybe. In the pandemic, I really tried to learn like how to play
Yeah.
piano correctly. Like I can play a few chords and whatever, but I just got so aggravated. I was like, I can't do this. Like, I was
Yeah,
so annoyed.
there's so much things I could do.
It's so
Like,
frustrating. Seriously, like, I wish I learned when I was young, and it's a lot harder to learn things, obviously, when you're older. So
what,
unfortunate, but it's okay.
what frustrates you the most when it comes to the the music process of getting ready to make a song? I guess you can say the production of.
Um, I mean, for me, I hate how long it takes sometimes, where I'm like, I'll do a session and then I'm like, oh, I gotta wait for a while now or whatever, because there's obviously a whole process of mixing and mastering that has to happen, and it takes a while sometimes. Um, but I will say terms of what I have creative control over, sometimes I get frustrated writing songs where I'm like I said before, like writer's block, and sometimes I'm just not in the mood. So I will say that to me is the most frustrating part of making a song.
Okay,
But it's not worth it for me to be like have someone else write the song. I still love writing. It's just sometimes I'm like, ugh,
yeah,
I
exactly.
wish
You
someone
just
could just
want to
do
do
this
it.
for me. Yeah.
You just wish that it could just appear basically at some points.
Yeah, but I love every other part of it. I think it's so fun, like actually recording and doing all my doubles and harmonies and stuff. I find it really fun.
You ever thought about featuring with somebody or maybe just letting somebody feature on yours?
Yeah, I've thought about it. And I'm kind of talking to someone about doing that right now. But at the same time, I don't know. I love doing solo stuff, but of course I'm going to do collabs at some point, and I've been asked a few times, but I'm just like right now I kind of just want to focus on doing stuff for myself, and I
Yeah,
feel like when you start collaborating with other artists, it's kind of like I don't know, it's like you're relying on somebody else or someone's relying on you, and I just feel like right now I'd love to do the solo stuff, and maybe collabs will happen I've done one before, but maybe a collab of that's bigger will happen in the future.
yeah.
Or maybe next week. I don't know.
That's
Anything
what
could
I
happen.
that is what I think when it comes to podcasting in general. Because I used to do a lot of I used to run a lot of music events and like underground house music
Yeah.
events in the past, and I just decided to do podcasting afterwards because it doesn't require a lot of strings. It just
Hmm.
requires me to actually get up and go, and then eventually I won't have to do any of that. So once
True.
that day comes, then that's when I'm going to be in Colombia hanging out, and everybody will just fly out to the interviews. Like,
Oh, 1,000%. I see it. I have a vision.
do you have so like do you happen to have any ideas ranging around the more comedic music, similar to like I guess you could say similar to like Little Dicky or something like that?
Oh my God. Do I have like an opinion on that?
Yeah,
I mean, I myself wouldn't listen to it. But I respect it. I think it's cool. He did that Earth song, which was fun. But like I'm not
yeah,
like sitting in my AirPods listening to it, like personally, at least.
yeah.
But I respect everyone that does. But yeah, it's not for me.
I totally understand. What
Yeah.
about let's say another one, another artist, I guess you can say. What about like hard techno, hard electronic music? What is your take on it? What do you feel on it?
Do you know what EDC is?
Yeah, of course.
So I was there last year in Vegas, and I'm going again in May. I'm not particularly like excited about hard electronic music, but there's something about when you're there and just experiencing it that it's like it hits hard.
Yeah,
But like I said before, like I'm not listening to it in AirPods, but I can really vibe to it when, have a few drinks and whatever.
you're with your group of friends.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I'm excited to go back.
Oh yeah,
So, I
absolutely.
mean, I
And
guess that's a sign, a
I,
good
I'm just
sign.
gonna say, yeah, this comes from the person that said, I'm not really too interested, but I'm pretty
Exactly.
excited to come.
No, like last year I was kind of like I'm not very excited about going. Well, I was, but also at the same time I was like, it's fun to plan the outfits and I just love going to festivals and I'm a big festival guy. So I had a lot of fun planning everything. But once it actually got to, and it's also overnight, it literally starts at
Yeah,
like 8 p.m. and ends at 6 in the morning. So it's
yeah,
oh my
exactly. It's
God,
madness.
this
Yeah,
is a
it's
big
madness.
commitment.
Just this.
This is a commitment. And Vegas is a crazy place. Like it's just not the world. I like to call it its own planet because it's
Yeah, it's its
like
own beast.
no rules. Like it's insane. So yeah, but I'm going
Yeah.
back, so that's a good sign.
Well, in that case, I'm gonna hopefully people will probably look out for you then when it comes to it. They'll be like, "Yo, it's Dylan, no!"
Yeah,
way."
yeah, for sure.
Have you gone to any events in Toronto, similar in the similar same vein?
No, I haven't. I've been told Velda's pretty fun, but I go to Osheaga usually,
Oh, really?
which I think is better.
Oh
Maybe
yeah,
I'm
of course. No,
biased.
no, I agree. No, I agree.
And I think it's the same weekend if I'm not
It
mistaken.
is every single year.
So yeah, so yeah, I think the Montreal Music Festival scene is really strong. I haven't been to one here, so I can't really have an opinion, but based off what I've heard, I would say people come to a general consensus with me.
Oh, absolutely. I think I agree with that statement as well.
Yeah.
Because I've been to Osheaga, believe it or not,
Oh,
8 times. So
eight. Yeah, I've
yeah,
probably been 5 times now.
yeah. See, I had to put the nail in the coffin for that festival because I've gone
Fair
so many
enough.
times. There's so many other things you can go to and
I
see
guess I only have three more before I got to nail it.
before you either have to
Yeah.
be playing there yourself
Oh yeah.
or you can never go.
Yeah, or I can never go ever again.
Do you have any plans on jumping into any type of festivals in the future? Maybe like, there's a festival in Connecticut.
Oh
Why
my
not?
God. Going back home. No, right now, no, but I would love to once I have a bigger body of work, dive into that or maybe do a few shows in a few cities. But right now, no plans for that as of right now.
Okay, I totally understand.
But I would love to do it. It seems like such a fun vibe.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, like, who,
Hmm.
who wouldn't, right, when it comes
Yeah,
to it?
right? Come on. So fun.
Uh, so we've already spoken a little bit about the music that came before the sophomore
Hmm.
EP. We spoke a little about the music that's already out now. When it comes to the future of music, the future of sound for you, you say we're gonna bring up the octane a little bit more. Do you
Yeah.
happen to have any ideas for? I guess without ruining the music, the song. Do you happen to have like a music video or a idea or concept for any music videos that you will be coming out soon that kind of relate to the music? That way, you're not ruining the song. Yeah.
Um, I don't have any music video. Well, I have ideas, but I really want to finish all the music before I would love to make a video for this project. I think it would be so fun. But I want to finish all the songs and see which one I can build a story with the most before I kind of dive into a video. But when I'm writing songs, actually, I'm always thinking about if I were to make a video of this, what would it look like? So I don't know. I do a lot of storytelling in my music, so I feel like if a video were to happen, because you never know, sometimes it's like you got to make a video because we're popping off or whatever. If a video were to happen, then I would always have a vision for it. Like I every single song that's released, I have a video idea. Oh my God, I can't speak. So yes,
Sorry.
hopefully in the future, in the near future, because there's one song that's actually on the EP that I have a very strong vision for, and I would love to do a video for it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Not the kind you see in movies. Save me, 'cause I feel that maybe that you're going to change me. From this day on, I will never let you down, never let you go.
I wanted to actually go on to the next question, which would be your favorite song. The favorite song that you created so far, thus far.
Already?
Yeah. Oh wait, I think we did. Yeah, actually.
Did I answer that already?
Yeah, I think
You
we
said
did. I
the
think
one
we
that's
did.
not on the project.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So in that case, we can skip that essentially. But I want to make sure that we all know what it is. Go back. um, another concept that I wanted to ask and want to see what your opinion is when it comes to making music. What comes first? Similar to the chicken and the egg? Is it like the melody of the song or the concept of the song? What's the
Uh,
inception process basically?
It's usually I get sent a beat that we work with, and then I write a song to that. I'll rarely write a song before having any type of music. I find it easier to write a song to a beat that's already made. Like I'll get sent a few beats and I'm like, I like this one. And then I'll start writing to that and kind of come up with the
Okay.
concept. I actually come up with the title of a song a lot of the time before I write it.
So then you like send them the title of the song and then they would find a beat that
Yeah,
kind of matches
correct.
the title.
Well, they'll make
Okay.
a beat and kind of like be like, what do you think of this? And I'm like, I hate it. Or what do you think of this? I love it.
Yeah, I love
And then I kind of
it.
like build a concept around the title of that song.
See, that's actually in my opinion, that's actually a really good way to make it happen because it's super
Yeah.
simple, super easy. You can think about it fast,
Yeah.
basically, and let the process actually keep going from there. Oh,
Hmm.
okay, all right, all right.
Yeah.
Well, when it comes to being in the music scene in Toronto and the music scene in Montreal, you said it
Hmm.
makes it like a little bit easier when it comes to it. But have you ever thought about, oh, maybe I'm gonna try to dip my toe in another portion of Canada, for example, say Vancouver, and
You
try
know,
to bring the music out there?
I'd love to spend some time. I actually spent 5 weeks in LA in August, or
Okay.
like August into September. And I loved it there so much that I would love to go back for maybe a few years and dive into the world there. I think there's even more. I feel like going from Montreal to Toronto is a jump, but when you go from anywhere to LA, it's just the hot spot for
Yeah, the
anything
hub.
music related. So, I'd love to move there for a little bit and kind of explore my options and work with super fun producers and writers and just have like a whole year or two dedicated to making music there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah,
In be
that's the next place.
in between then, if that's to say you go to LA then, or in between the time of going to LA and
Yeah.
being here, what would you do with like the connections you know here? I guess you would bring them over there, or would you? How would that process work?
I always love to work with new people. So not to say that I don't love the people I work with now. I do. Well, I really only work with two people, but I love the two people I work with. We've done every single song from Untold Secrets till now together, and I feel like for a while I struggled with finding collaborators that I felt comfortable with because it's such a vulnerable thing, like going into a session and like being like, here's all my feelings, let's write a song about it.
Yeah,
Like when you're meeting someone for the first time, it's really hard to do that. And I feel like now I can do that, which is great. And also kind of scares me going to LA meeting a whole bunch of new people. But, there's always Zoom. So if I wanted to keep working with the same people, I can always have them on a Zoom call while I'm in person with other people, which is the beauty of the internet, thankfully.
yeah, and they're only
But
three
yeah,
hours away too.
yeah, exactly. I'm not opposed to even just working with new people, and I don't think they would be offended. Hopefully not.
Yeah,
If
no,
you're watching
absolutely.
this, Matt, I love you.
I guess maybe we'll have to speak to Mr. Matt then.
Yeah.
See what his
Let me let
see what
Matt
his
know that
like.
I'm,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, in that case, when it comes to the cold weather that we have here, which is starting to slowly get warm now,
Woo, finally.
what is your go to when it comes to defeating the winter blues?
A winter booze?
The winter blues.
Oh, the winter blues. It's like, oh my God, winter booze.
Winter blues. That's the
Um,
answer.
uh, it, I really try and travel a lot in the winter because I'm like, I need to get out of here. So thankfully, my family and I, we always do a little trip to somewhere south, no set place. This
Okay.
year it happened to be Florida. So we went to Florida for like 2 weeks and a bit, which is always nice to get away. And it's like Christmas time, so end of December, which I feel like is like peak winter. So it gives me a very good escape. But when I come home from there, it's like, ugh, like mid-January, it's like the seasonal depression hits extra
Yeah,
hard.
back again.
Yeah. And it's like super dark at 4 p.m. and like it's cold and you never want to leave the house. So yeah, I always struggle with seasonal depression like every year. But I mean, oh well,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
at the end of the day, I still do love it, but I feel like it's a little long sometimes. But it's okay. It's better than Montreal, I will say, the winter here. So it's
Yeah.
already an upgrade.
They still have a little bit of snow here and there in Montreal at this point in time.
Yeah, there's still
Whereas,
snow.
yeah,
I think
see,
it's actually
that's like,
snow. I think it's even snowing here right now, but
see, no, I
it'll
don't
be
want to hear
melted
that.
tomorrow. Yeah, exactly. Ignore it.
So, do you happen to have anything that that's on your mind when it comes to maybe potentially mini touring, potentially, or like a little? I'm gonna stop in three different locations in Canada or North America. Is there any big plans like that coming up, or is it just strictly music, 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 music?
So right now I'm really focused on finishing everything, but once I have a project, I would love to book a few shows. I think that's so fun. I've recently did a performance at um a literal birthday party, like with it was like for fun, like obviously, But just seeing people like dance to like the music and some people even knowing the words when the song's not even out, I'm like, how is this even possible? I think it's such a cool feeling when people sing your words back to you. It's I don't know, it's just like a very surreal thing.
Yeah.
And I would love to do that in, some of the big cities like New York and whatever. I'd love to book a few shows. So, yes, hopefully within a year or so, we're doing a mini little tour. And maybe I'll open for someone or vice versa. And I think it would be very fun.
All right, absolutely.
Yeah.
What is the when it come? I guess when it comes to being from so many different places, from America to Canada,
Hmm.
Canada to hopefully going to back to America. Well, LA essentially in general. What do
Hmm.
you have in your in? Does that change your mindset when it comes to the music? Because like, oh, now I gotta have music that caters more towards, I guess you could say Californian style or Californian people,
Yeah.
or
I
is it like
mean,
I'm gonna keep going with the house music, the housey type of music that I want to bring out and continue with
I
that?
I mean, I feel like I wouldn't really change my genre too much just because I'm moving. Although I probably would have a different mindset on like a lot of things. And there's no like winter and stuff. So maybe there'd be less, it would be more upbeat, like beachy songs. But I don't really
All right,
know. It's hard to tell. But you're
absolutely.
definitely happy. Well, from when I was there, you feel a little more like yay about
Yeah.
everything, especially when you're there in like December and it's like not freezing. So yeah.
Lastly, I guess I can say if you had to speak to yourself when you're in your sophomore EP days, what would you have to say to that younger version now?
Oh, stop caring what people think about you and just live your life and be happy and there's so many things I wish I could tell my younger self that was
Yeah,
so
go
ins
ahead.
madly insecure and I was it's mainly just like stop being a loser. Well, stop thinking you're a loser, I should say, not stop being a loser. And, talk to people and put yourself out there more. I was very like secluded in high school and stuff where I felt like I couldn't expand my friend group. I was, and I was friends with a very small amount of people, which was great. But at the same time, I wish I was more open to meeting new people and stuff. Um, and just like stop being afraid. And yeah, that's what I would say. I,
Uh,
I mean, little insecure me.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
those days are over. So, woo,
Yeah, and that's why, and
here's to
that's
growing
why
up.
I want to. It's better to say it because there always is people that are
Yeah.
just starting, even from
Stop
not even now
taking
in the future
things
too.
so seriously. Like,
Yeah, just
especially
post,
when you're
just
so
post,
young, like, ugh, whatever.
and
Yeah.
then in that case, I think that is a good way to put a ribbon on it. I think that's a good
I
place to put a
agree.
ribbon on it.
Stop taking things seriously, people, unless they're actually serious.
Yeah,
Like high school
exactly.
isn't serious, I promise.
Like, come on, children. You already know that once you move from one place to another,
Yeah.
that's when the big cojones and the big changes will happen, basically.
Yes, for real.
Especially when you actually post and release that child that you've been caring for so long, because that's when you actually get the reaction that you want to get and get the actual
Mhm.
information that you want to collect, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dylan, thank you very much.
Thank you for
Essentially,
having me.
absolutely. And I'm sure one day in the future we're gonna have an actual live hello and a live chat when no more music comes out. We'll do it all
Let's
over
do it
again
when the
then.
project comes out. I
Absolutely.
don't have a date, but once we do, we'll do something.
But besides that, if you want to catch this good old gentleman, you can find him on all the platforms. You search up the same name. He uses his first and last name because he wants to be more personal with everybody. And
Exactly.
that is Dylan Lafave, Lafave. And always remember to also check out that good old album that actually just came out, the new album in stock. And on top
Yes.
of that, on top of having Save Me, always remember that you can check out the old work as well. You can check out his TikTok. He has a lot of things that happening on his TikTok as well, and his Instagram. And at this
Yes.
point now, would you have anything else to say, I guess, before we head off?
Thank you for everything. I really appreciate it and your time and hope to see you again in the future.
Ta-da! All right, then, Dylan. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. The like button and the thanks button, they're kind of like they're brothers now. But the like button, definitely where you want to go. Definitely where you want to go. It helps the channel grow. And the channel growing means more faces that you love.